Isaiah the 5th chapter. We're going to look at verse 13. We're going to show you this quickly. We've got to move to Deuteronomy 28. Okay. Isaiah the 5th chapter. Let's give him verse 13.
Therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge.
Because they have no education.
Because they have no knowledge.
Because they ain't got no money.
Because they have no knowledge.
Because the white man is strong.
Because they have no knowledge.
Uh-huh.
And their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst.
You see that? Read it for them again.
Therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge.
They have no knowledge.
And their honorable men are famished.
Their honorable men are famished. The people that we hold dearly, the people that we allow to be our leaders and a spokesperson for our community are famished. They have no truth. They have no connection to the Most High. They have no Holy Spirit. Only thing they can give you is religion and lies. That's what they're giving to people. Religion and lies. Okay? In the next couple of weeks, the Passover is going to come. And 99% of the so-called black, so-called African-American churches here won't even recognize it, won't even speak on it. Right? But the 1st of April, the first week in April, they're going to be out there with the sunrise services saying, early, early, early. Celebrating the goddess Ishtar. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to send their kids around and hunt and do Easter egg hunts. They're going to buy Easter baskets. They're going to do all of that. But the Passover, they won't even know anything about. And the multitude of the people are what?
Are dried up with thirst.
Dried up with thirst. Because they're seeking the waters of life. They're seeking those rivers. And the only thing the church is giving them is a lie. You understand? So this is what we are. This is how we ended up in this place that we are right now. And we're going to prove this here in Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. Let's start here in verse 15. Yeah, Deuteronomy 28. We're about to go through these curses for a minute. Deuteronomy 28. And ladies and gentlemen, I need you to lock on right now. If you got anybody on your friend list, any church members and your pastors that's on right now, bring them onto this thing. Share this on your wall right now. Invite them into this thing. So you can see for yourself that our history, we got a lesson that we did a few weeks ago called A History That Was Already Written. You need to go check that out. But we got to run through these things real quick now so we can get into this Q&A section. Verse 15.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, and all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So the first 14 verses of chapter 28 shows us the blessing that the Most High wants to give it to us. You need to make sure you go check those out too. Because what's going to happen is that when you transition back to not being black and not being African American, but walking as the true Israelite that you are, these blessings now are available to you. So don't just read the curses. Make sure you're taking the blessings as well. Now we're not going to go through all these curses because the curses are from 16 to 68. But we're going to point out a few ones that you're going to see that speaks to our people, speaks directly to our people. So Jake, give him verse, let's see. Let's give him verse 32.
Thy son and thy daughter shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look, and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand.
Who else did that happen to? Read it for him again.
Thy son and thy daughter shall be given unto another people.
Who else did that happen to besides us? Did you see that happening to white Jewish people? When somebody went and took their children and sold them into slavery? Where they pulled up to the coast of Africa and took our people off in slave ships? Who else did that happen to besides us? I mean, if you can tell me anybody else that throughout the history of the civilization that happened to, please send me the information. But you can't. You can't. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. You can't. Verse 33.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
Who else did that happen to? Who else had their countries ran up in, take the rubber trees, the gold, the animals, the silver, the fish, the land, everything, the crops? Look at what they did to our people, the so-called Indians, the so-called Puerto Ricans, and the so-called people over the islands down here. They took the buffaloes. They took everything. Who else did that happen to besides our people? Let's skip down to verse 45.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hast hearkened not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed forever.
How long?
Forever.
Did it ever go away?
Forever.
Are we still dealing with it?
Forever.
Forever. Verse 46.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for all abundance of all things.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore thou shalt serve thy enemies which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
He shall do what?
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee.
If you don't believe me, I know my pictures don't be showing up right because of this light. But you go to Genesis, go to Google, and Google yoke of iron. You see that? See any white Jewish people in there? Right? All us. And it's here in the Bible. Before it ever happened. Why it freezes. All right, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We had it froze a little bit. Now, so this happened, was spoken way before we ever went into slavery. That there will be a yoke of iron and breaks upon our neck. You understand? So, if you, like I said, if you see know of any other people that this happened to, please put me on to it. But you can't. Verse 48. Verse 48.
64.
All right, let's go down to verse 64 for the time frame. Let's go down verse 64 second time. Verse 64.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou or thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Even what?
Even wood and stone.
That wood is your cross from Christianity. Ladies and gentlemen. Because we were never supposed to worship idols. I know this is going to sting for a lot of people. But it's the truth. Christianity has turned the cross into an idol. There, you go to every church, there's crosses outside the church, there's crosses inside the church. People wear crosses on their neck. They got crosses put on tattooed on their bodies. Right? I used to have a robe that I preached in where I had on the shawl part of it, I had crosses on it. Idols. It's idolatry. The Most High said it here. Because nobody was doing that over here. And, nah, I'm not going to say that now. We'll hold off on that. But that stone, that's the Kabbalah stone of Islam. The majority of our people in this world today are trapped in Christianity and Islam. And the Most High said it here in Deuteronomy 28, verse 64, 3,000 years before it happened. Verse 65.
And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life.
Is this not the great epitome of the life of the so-called black man, the so-called African-American man in this country? For the so-called Mexicans, for the so-called Puerto Ricans, for the so-called Indians in this country, all over the world. Look at what they're doing now to our people down there in Central and South America right now. Rebellion and chaos. People starving. No assurance for life. Many of our people in these cities can't even walk in them without getting shot and robbed. You can't even go to the store, to the convenience store. You might get pulled over for your tag being expired, and you may not make it home that day. And nothing will happen. Look at all our people that was bombed in the churches. Black Wall Street bombed by their own country. Talking about some 9/11 was the first time planes was crashing. Bombs were dropped on us in Black Wall Street. Go do your research. You understand? This Bible is talking about our people. Verse 67.
In the morning thou shalt say, would God if it were even, and at even thou wilt say, would God if it were morning. For the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thy eyes thou shalt see.
Who else is that? Who else is that talking about besides us? Where you got our people have to stay intoxicated all day long just to make it, just to survive, just to maintain. Verse 68.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Now, you need to understand that the word Egypt there means house of bondage. The word Egypt was not the name of Egypt. The name of Egypt, originally name was Mizraim. Egypt is a Greek word for bondage, house of bondage, because of what they did to our people. So when he says, I'm going to take you back in Egypt again, that doesn't mean he take you back to the physical land of Egypt. They're going to be taking our people back into slavery. You understand? And you're going to do what?
Again, with ships.
With ships. Israel is right next to Egypt. They walked from Egypt to Israel. You don't need a ship to go there. So don't let these Christian preachers dilute what this is saying here. You have no record of anybody from Israel being taken massively back into Egypt again. But you do have the 100 million of our people in the Atlantic slave trade taken from West Africa to the Americas. You do have that. Our people. And what was going to happen to us?
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Who else did that happen to? That we were sold as bondmen and bondwomen. And then he says, nobody shall what?
And no man shall buy you.
I heard a Gentile preacher trying to break this down the other day and said, but they said we don't want nobody to buy you. That means won't slaves being bought? You don't understand that word means redeemed. That means brought out of slavery. Because our people are still in slavery in America right now. They just don't know it. You understand? If you believe that Christianity is your way out right now, you're a slave. If you believe that America loves you, you are a slave. If you're still involved in the political process in America, thinking that this is going to help you out, you are a slave. And I know that's hard for you to understand. You understand? If you're celebrating the 4th of July, even though in 1776 our people were on slave plantations working, you are a slave. You understand? Because you bought into the delusion that this country loves you, that you're an African American. And you're not. You're from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel. Now, that review went a whole lot longer than I thought it would be, and we ain't really covered anything. To be honest with you. But I tried to do some form of synopsis, some form of review for the entire 45 weeks that we taught. Now, for these last moments that we have, and we're probably going to run over some, so just stick with us. But I want to put this out here now as we go into this Q&A that I'm about to dive into. If there's anybody that's on with us right now that has a question that you would like answered, inbox me, and we will answer those questions after we get through with the ones that we already have. We want to make sure. Now, I'm going to say this. We said this on the one we did back in January, and I'm going to say this now. I'm not going to deal directly with no church. I'm not addressing no particular people, no pastors, no leaders, or nothing. We don't use this platform to criticize and to ridicule. You understand? So I'm not talking about a particular person. Don't ask me a question about a particular person, a particular church, a particular faith. I'm not doing it. We address the Bible. I'm not going to attack and ridicule people. That's not what we do here. We pray for people. We encourage and exhort the people. We don't tear our people down. You understand? Now, the first Q&A, the first question that we got, I got this from a friend a few weeks ago, and I thought that I would bring this into the lesson today. And this is addressing the 400-year prophecy of our people. Now, many of our people believe that there's a 400-year prophecy that was given to Abraham about our time that we would serve in Egypt. And that's a corresponding 400-year prophecy of our people serving here in America. Now, the Egyptologists, the people who are trapped in this nonsense of Egyptology, use this 400-year prophecy to discredit the Israelites and anybody who followed the Bible, because there is no historical records of our people being in Egypt for 400 years. You know why? Because we did not serve in Egypt for 400 years. The 400-year prophecy, ladies and gentlemen, is off. Okay? It's off. And we want to bring this out today because what's going on is when our people are dialoguing with these Egyptologists, they're bringing out historical records and killing our people with it because we don't have anything to verify what we're saying to cover over the time frame of 400 years, right? And so then with our people over here in America, today you bring it up to today's times, because many of our Israelite people are claiming and proclaiming this 400-year prophecy that it's going to be over coming next year, couple years. When that don't happen, many of our people are going to fall by the wayside because they're going to believe they've been deceived. Even the Christ even talks about that. That he says that when he comes, not when the servant thinks he's going to come, and the servant returns back to living the way they was living. So because our people are believing about this 400-year prophecy, when it doesn't happen next year, in the 2 years when America is not destroyed and delivered in that time frame, and we out of here, many of our people are going to fall right back into the world. So I want to put this out here today about this 400-year prophecy, that this is off and it's flawed. It's not accurate. And we're going to show you here in the Bible to prove that, as well as a historical record, to show you that time frame that our people believe is off. Now, to prove this, let's start here in Genesis. You gotta turn that backwards, bro. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, is that plugged in? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go to Genesis 15. Let me show you in here where this whole 400-year prophecy comes from. Genesis 15 chapter. And we're going to look at verses 1 through 16 here, so you get an understanding of what all this comes from, and I'm going to give you the full explanation of it so people can understand it. So give me verse 1 there.
After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceedingly great reward.
Okay.
And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless?
Hold on. Trying everything they can do, man. They're trying everything they can do to stop this, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back.
Verse 2. And Abram,
Before we read that, I'm gonna ask my people who know how to pray in the spirit. I'm gonna ask y'all to go ahead and start praying right now, because this truth is coming out right now, and the enemy is doing what they try to do, whatever they can do to stop this truth from coming out, like they did last week. So if I got any prayer words right now, just begin to pray in the spirit so that we can get this truth out. Thank you. Go ahead, Jay.
verse 2. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is Eleazar of Damascus?
Okay, now stop there. So what happened was, this is before Abram name is changed to Abraham, and he is saying, like, you know, the promises that was promised to him in Genesis the 12th chapter, that he was going to have this exceedingly great family and all these things. All these years done went by, and ain't nothing happened. And so he's saying, listen, man, you know, how am I going to have all these things when the only person you've given me to take over after me is Eleazar, servant? I don't have no seed. And what was the answer in verse 3?
And Abram said, Behold to me that thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir.
Mm-hmm.
And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thy heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy own bowels